Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Warm greetings to all of you. Today we are going to start chapter 11, which is about motivation. It's going to be a very interesting lecture today, inshallah. So let's jump into what is the learning objective for today's lecture. So basically we'll be talking about motivation, and we'll be defining motivation. We'll explain motivation as a new satisfying process, and we'll also look into some very fascinating theories on motivation, which will we'll discuss Maslow's, we will discuss theory X, theory Y, oh gosh, and then we'll also discuss Herzberg's factor theory, which is hygiene, and Herzberg's view on satisfaction. And then we'll be looking at other contemporary theories, or like McLaren's theory, goal-setting theory, and reinforcement theory in job characteristics model. And we'll discuss the implication of the equity theory. And we'll do a contrast distributive justice and procedural justice, and we'll explain the three key linkages on expectancy theory and the role theory. And at the last of today's lecture, we'll be discussing the current issues in motivation. We'll describe the cross-cultural challenges that you might face when you'll be discussing the motivation. You'll discuss the challenges managers face in motivating a unique group of workers, and describe open book management, employees recognitions, pay for performance, and stock option programs. Okay, this was our learning agenda for the day. So let's start with motivation. What is motivation? Okay, so basically we have to understand that there is a phenomena that keeps us moving, yes, to some direction. Or if you're in the class, I would have asked you, like, what is your motivation to get this degree? So there must be some purpose, and there must be some energy involved in it, and there must be some consistency that is required. So motivation is the result of interaction between person and a situation. It is not personal traits. So we are not talking about like how good or bad a person is and what is his characteristics, but we are talking about how a person behaves in a particular situation. So it's the process by which a person, experts are energized, directed, and sustained toward attaining a goal. So basically it gives us a direction, like there must have to be an energy. Okay, can you hear me, please? Because some student has texted me that he can't hear me. What about the rest of the guys? Is my voice audible? Sadiq is having issue. Muhammad Sadiq is having an issue. Is this issue with just Muhammad Sadiq, or other students are also facing the same problem? Oh, yes, you can hear it. So it's a problem.
I don't have a problem.
Okay, Tamam, thank you. Okay, guys, so imagine when I was talking about our MBA students, and I told you that they are already serving in organizations. So they come over the weekend, like they work 5 days a week. And then on the 6th day, they come from, say, Riyadh to Al-Hassa, and then on 7th day as well. Okay, 6th day is a Friday, so you don't feel like getting up early in the morning on Friday, but the guys come from Riyadh, and they travel, I guess, 3 to 4 hours when they come here. Then they take like 6 hours of lectures, and then they travel like 3 to 4 hours back home, and then they go on doing the same for the whole week. What does it tell us? That there must be some energy. Okay, so let's see it from the perspective of motivation. It requires lots of energy to get up on Friday, yes, if they wish to come to do the Master's of Business Administration. And they feel like if they'll get the MBA, they might get a higher salary or promotion in the job. And then they have to be persistent. So imagine if they come on 1 week and they don't come on the rest of the weeks, they would not be able to get the degree done. So motivation should have all these three characteristics. First is it requires energy. Second thing, the energy has to be channelized into some direction. And third one is that there has to be a consistency or persistence. Okay, so then we can get the desired outcome. So why this is important? It is important for the managers like you who is going to be inshallah senior managers in the future. So you have to understand like what is that motivates employees and how we can develop motivation so that they every day in the morning they get up and they would like to come to the office, and they put their energies over a consistent time frame. So motivation works best when individual needs are compatible with organizational needs. So there has to be a synergy. There has to be like, if this is the individual's learning or his objectives or whatever they want to achieve, this should be linked with the organizationals. Okay, so then they will be motivated to come to the organization. Then they would be getting up early in the morning and they would like to be doing the jobs that have been assigned to them. So it's very important for the organization to understand. Again, coming back to this MBA example, so is this MBA program is linked with their personal goals? Yes, because this will help them to increase their management knowledge, and this might help them to get higher salaries, and this might also be helpful for their promotions and then go to the next step. So this program is linked with their personal needs, and these personal needs are linked with their professional needs. Okay, so that's why understanding motivation is a key for the managers. Now let's see there are like some theories which are very famous in this. When you're talking about motivation, we always talk about Maslow's hierarchy of need, McGregor's theory, X and 2Y, and Herzberg's two-factor theory. Okay, let's see what Maslow's talk about motivation and why Maslow is very famous when we talk about motivation. Okay, so Maslow's, which we call as hierarchy of needs theory, and in the next slide you'll see how he puts the needs into hierarchy and the way you go up the stairs. Okay, so he has categorized that all needs are basically of 5 levels, and you go from the lower level to the higher level. That's how the process works. So he says like individuals must satisfy lower level needs before they can satisfy a higher level need. So first they have to stay on ladder 1, then they will move to ladder 2, and then so on and so forth. Probably later we'll see that or this aspect of the theory is like also criticized to a certain extent. And then he feels like once should satisfy needs will no longer be motivating. So if you have like satisfied this step, so you would never need it. You might need to go to the next level. Motivating a person depends on knowing what level of the person is on the hierarchy. So this is a crucial learning in this theory, that you have to understand what is the level of individual. So in the next slide, we'll see what kind of leadership needs theories he has defined. Hierarchy of need basically is it goes from lower order, which is external, to higher order needs, which are external. So lower order needs he talks about as physiological, safety, which and higher order needs are social, self-esteem, and self-actualization. Let's discuss these needs, esteem, and self-actualization. Let's discuss these needs in the next slide. Okay, so here they have given us a pyramid which we were talking about. So this is on stage 1 we have physiological needs, stage 2 we have safety needs, and stage 3 we have social needs, 4 esteem, and we also call it self-esteem and self-actualization. Okay, this is also called self-esteem. Oh gosh. Okay, physiological. So in this slide we talked about these two are external needs, and these are internal. This happens in the mind of the individual or employee. These are internal needs. So what is physiology? Physiological is like relevant to our physique, okay? And we know the things that are relevant to our physique is the hungry or thirst, hunger, thirst. These are human needs. And he has also put sex as also part of the human need. Okay, so so his things like the first ever need that an individual will have to satisfy is his physiological need. So imagine if you are hungry, you will not need a big bungalow. You will not need to be like what people think about. You would first thing you would like yourself to be satisfying the hunger or the need, which is, and then if you're thirsty, you would like to get water or moya. Okay, so after you are like you have eaten kapsa, now no more this kapsa is going to satisfy your need according to Maslow. So if you're hungry, if I offer you, biryani, you're not gonna eat biryani yourself. Or probably you have already eaten biryani. Even though if I'll offer you kapsa, you'll say, no, doctor, I am full. So that's his theory. So what happens? Your needs will move on to the next level, that is safety. Now, if you are standing in a hot weather of Al-Hassa, you like to go and stay in the in the house. So imagine if you see this hot weather during the summer, there are many people sitting outside on the roads and looking for some charity and looking for some jobs. Why? Because this first need is not fulfilled. So in a hot weather like 47, 48, 49 degrees centigrade, these people are sitting outside on the roads because they are not sure that their physiological needs are being fulfilled. So that motion. So imagine if their physiological needs are full, then they will think like us and they would like to go into a room where there's an air condition is working and there's a safety and security is there. So individuals might also, if somebody doesn't have a house, he might go to purchase a land and they build their own houses. So safety is the second concern for the humans when they need 1 and 2 are satisfied. Then when you have achieved like physiological needs, you have achieved social needs, safety needs, then individual, as we call human beings, are social animal. So our social needs comes in. When we would like to work in the tribes and we would like to be accepted by the society and by the tribe that we belong. So we live in different tribes and we want ourselves to be accepted in these tribes, and socially acceptable. So you go on the marriages, you go on the funerals, and certain kind of activities that we perform. It's just because trying to be social and socially acceptable. So imagine if an individual has achieved this one as well, then he might go on self-actualization. Self-actualization basically a level in which individual talks or thinks about himself. He says, nobody talks about me. You know, selfie, when we take selfie, we think like we are important. So self-esteem is the time when individuals want to think about their personal self so that they should look different than others. They might buy a big expensive car to impress their relatives or friends. They would like, as a boss, they would like to be seen different, so they must have a big car, they must have a big, accommodation, or his office must be different than others, or he is announced that best employee of the year. So that will satisfy his or her ego of becoming a self-esteem. Then according to Maslow, when somebody has achieved these things over the long period of time, and they don't no more, they are concerned about certificates, honorarium, okay, so the employee of the year kind of awards. Now they have another need that is called self-actualization. At this level, the individuals are not concerned what kind of brands they are wearing, what kind of so they are concerned about their own personal objective, and they wish to follow that objective. So as a human being, they just don't concern about other things, what people think about them, or is the tribe going to accept them or not. So they will work for their own objective and what they have personal goals in life. Al Hassan Al Sabi, do you want to say something?
No, thank you.
Okay. So self-actualization is the highest level on Maslow's hierarchy of need. At this level, individuals they focus on their personal life goals, what they have set for themselves. They are not concerned about self-esteem, social needs, safety needs. We might have seen recently, like Steve Jobs. You would not see him wearing top brands and something like that. And then Warren Buffett, you will not see him wearing like big brands or big watches. So he has a like old mobile phone. Okay, that's it. Now just to recall, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he talks about 5 needs. They are very important for individuals' motivation. First one is physiological needs. Second is safety. Third is social. For self-esteem and self-actualization. Now, having said this, if you understand what is the level of an individual, you can motivate them accordingly, as we discussed in our previous slide. So imagine there's an office boy who is involved, say, in printing paper. So, and there is a manager of the company, and there is a managing director of the company. So, do you think they should be on different levels of physiological needs? Oh, sorry. What do you think where it should be? We should put office boy on these physiological needs. What stage he would be? I need your feedback. Please type down office boy. Should I put it on the first level? Okay, physiological needs, or he might be at safety needs. Okay, so we cannot. Where would be the manager? Where we can place the manager? Okay, Manager on the top. No, I'm not talking about the managing director. So I'm just talking about the manager. Mafi Mudir Kabir. I'm just talking about the Mudir. How about if we put him, yes, small model? Oh, it's a very comprehensive model. So I think office boy can be on like stage one. It depends on him, or stage two, yes. So we can try it here, one or two. Okay, so I'm just guessing. And then the manager might be on stage three or four. Probably he might have his own house, or probably he will be a part of different societies, and we can put the managing director. Probably he would be still on four. He still wants people to praise him, and he still wants to buy big cars and impress people, or he might be at stage five where he is indifferent to what he wears, what he, people think about him. So he is very much concerned about his own personal objectives, what he has set for himself. Okay, so if we'll understand this, we can develop strategies accordingly. Imagine if you want to give like 500 real a salary increment. So which level employee will be more motivated if we give them 500 real? Which employee will be more happy? Yes, the tea boy or the office boy will be very excited. And imagine if we give 500 real to the manager, is he going to be satisfied? Can we motivate him? Or to the managing director? Not at all, because this is peanuts for him. This is not on his level. Okay, now I guess we not at all, because this is peanuts for him. This is not on his level. Okay, now I guess we have understood the whole concept. So if we understand the level of the employees, then we can set the reward strategies which will motivate them. Okay, moving on to the next theory. This theory is called McGregor's theory X and theory Y. It's very interesting. It's like there are, according to this assumption, there are two types of managers. Theory X manager, they assume that workers have little ambitions. They dislike working. They avoid responsibility and require close supervision. I mostly give the example of like the teachers or the doctors, which teaches you. They can have, we can have two different kind of teachers, teacher X and teacher Y. Okay, so teacher X believes that the students are not hardworking. They dislike work. When I give them assignments, they avoid the responsibility. They do plagiarism. They check it through the chat GPT. And I need to make sure that I give them tough time so that they work hard and learn. Okay, so there can be another teacher that is called theory Y. So he assumes that the workers can exercise full self-direction. So he trusts students. He thinks like the students want to be responsible and they like to do work. Okay, so I'm not gonna ask you like, so I don't know. I believe that yes, you guys are the one, they are hardworking, you are self-directed, and you want to learn. So you tell me which teacher you feel like I'm not going to ask you the names of the teachers. Have you experienced any teachers that doubt the students and don't trust them, and they just always try to keep a very close check on the students? Have you noticed? Or if I ask you like, do you think I'm the one who doubts you, or I'm the one who gives you like, considers that my students are hardworking and they are self-responsible and they like the work? What kind of doctor do you think I am? Theory X or theory Y? Okay, so you think second time. What about the rest of guys? You have got like 39 students and nobody is replying to me. Are you with me? Okay, but you must have experienced, yes, I don't doubt you, okay. But you must have also experienced theory X doctor, you know, the one who doesn't trust student, yes? Okay, same goes like in the real world as well. I gave you the example of Simon Sneak. I told you he's a guru of management, and he shares an incident that he says. Let me write it down. His name. Let's hope the spelling are right. And sorry, the handwriting is so bad. Okay, so he says like I saw a waiter in a restaurant, so I went to him and asked him like, how do you like working in this restaurant? He says, I don't like working here, but I like to work in another restaurant. He said, why don't you want to work here? He says, because the manager, he is also always spying on us. So he tried to find out faults and he just tried. So he creates an environment in which the fear presents. And he says, the other restaurant, the manager trusts us. So he comes to us and says, is there anything I can help to you, you know? So that's how the Theory X managers can create fear, where Theory Y managers can create a relaxed environment for the employees to work. But having said this, they can be different kind of people. They can be people, they are really not working hard, and then you might have to switch from Theory X to Theory Y, and you might be learning. So anyways, so assumption is that motivation is maximized by the participative decision making. So we should create interesting jobs and good working relationship with the employees, and that's how you can learn about their real behavior at work. Okay, now the third theory, which is Herzberg's motivation, hygiene, and motivation factor theory. So we have to understand like what is a hygiene factor and what is motivation factor. So it's very interesting theory. So he says he defines like job satisfaction is a characteristic of job satisfaction. Job satisfaction and job dissatisfaction are created by different factors. Okay, so this is interesting theory. He says one factor which is called hygiene factor, and another factor they are car motivators. So he says like job satisfaction is different, and the things that cause job dissatisfaction are different. So let me explain to you. So he says hygiene factor, which are extrinsic environment factor that creates job dissatisfaction, whereas intrinsic like physiological factor that create job satisfaction. Okay, so he thinks that the missing of hygiene factor, if there is a hygiene factor that is missing, that will create job dissatisfaction. I want to make up a person who is not happy. He's happy. He's happy. So let me make it. And he's not happy, yes? And I want to make someone who is happy. So yes. So according to this theory, hygiene factor, if the hygiene factors, the external environment is not suitable, the employee will not be happy. But if the hygiene factor is available, employees will not be happy. You got this, yeah? Strange, yes? If this is missing, they are unhappy, they are unsatisfied. But if this is available, they are not more satisfied. So I always give this example to the students when we are in the classroom. So I would ask them, like, how many chairs are there? So they will say, Doctor, there are 50 chairs. And I ask them, how many students you are? They say, Doctor, there are like 30 students. So imagine we have 50 chairs and 30 students. Okay, so, and let's take another scenario in which there are 30 students and there are 20 chairs in the class. Okay, so I'm just trying to chairs, and these are students. Okay, so take this scenario first. We have 30 students, only 20 chairs in the class. So imagine you are in my class and there's 30 students, 10 of them they are standing, and there are only 20 chairs. Would you be happy? You will be happy? You will be satisfied with the university? You'll not be satisfied. You are standing in the class, yes? Are you guys with me? Yeah, so you'll not be happy. Like there are like 20 chairs and 10 of you are standing, so you're not happy. Imagine the other scenario, which normally happens in every class, that there is 50 chairs and there's just 30 students over there. Now we have 20 extra chairs in your class. Are you more satisfied? You should not be more satisfied, yes? Because this is what you expect in the classroom. So there should be ample seats, there should be an adequate number of seats. So extra chairing arrangement will not make you more happy. Same goes like if the air condition in the classroom is not working as of today. So you come to the lecture room and you see the air condition is not working. So will you be more satisfied or not? You'll not be satisfied, yes? So AC is not working. Students don't like it. But AC is working like normal days. It's running up and in full flow. But you're no more satisfied, yes? This is what you expect. This is the requirement of the university. So you think this is what they have to do. I can give you a third example. Like, imagine we have the parking. So if you come to the university parking, the parking is like full. So parking is full, you are not satisfied. But when you come in the morning, the parking is empty. Does it make you more satisfied? No, because this is what you expect from it. So that's why this is an external factor, hygiene. That's what he calls hygiene factor. Motivators are the one which are psychological factor that makes you happy. If the thing is there, it will make you happy. If the thing is not there, you'll not be happy. This is the opposite of satisfaction. So he says like the opposite of satisfaction is not dissatisfaction, but is no satisfaction. Okay. So he gave us a concept. He also challenged one concept. So motivation is from your inner self. So if you are motivated from inside, you feel like the university is taking care of you. They give you the respect. You're working in the university or say some big company like Aramco, and people talk about you like he works in the Aramco. So that makes you more satisfied. So according to this theory, motivators are your intrinsic that are within your mind, but the hygiene factors are that are within your mind, but the hygiene factors are extrinsic through which you can control motivation. He has also put a cash or flus. This is interesting. Cash as hygiene factor. Okay. So we all. So he thinks like if you do not get enough salary, you will be dissatisfied. But if you get extra salary, it will not make you motivation or motivated. So he puts money, flus, not as a motivator. He puts it as a hygiene factor. Because so imagine you are being paid 7,000 real and the normal rate for your job is like 17,000 real. So you'll not be happy. Okay. But again, if they give you like for the 17,000 job, they give you 27,000 real, it will not motivate you according to this theory. Okay. In the classroom, we will discuss this. This is interesting because many students, they believe that money is a motivator. And we'll challenge this theory in the class. Okay, other theories which are called contemporary theories for motivation. There's a three-need theory, goal-setting theory, reinforcement theory, designing motivation. The jobs, equity theory, and expectancy theory. So a three-need theory, which is by McLeland, they say that there are three major acquired needs that are major motivators and what. So they think like one of the individuals' need is need for achievement. So we want to achieve something. There is a drive that excel and make us successful. Okay, so someone would like to become a manager and then an area manager or the CEO of the company, and his objective is that I have achieved this excellence. I've got this badge which says that he's the managing director or the CEO of the company. So they have their goals set for achievement. There can be other employees, their goals may be set for the power. So the ultimate power is how you control the behavior of other individuals. So other people will try to enhance their power. So they both individuals are following the same journey, yes? One is from this side and one from this side. They're going the same stairs, but their minds are different. One wants to have badges, other wants to control other employees. So I want to become the CEO so that I can control the organization, I can control the funds, I can control the individuals. Okay, I can change the lives of the individual. Third need that McLean defines is need for affiliation. This is the desire for interpersonal relationship, how people want to be affiliated, how they want to be seen by the others, how the others individual accept them. So need for affiliation, as I told you, there may be a doctor and he is a professor, he's a medical doctor, and he has adopted this field because he knows like there's a high respect for the medical doctors. So probably he might not like the job, but he knows that being an MBBS doctor, people give him a high respect. So I would like to be staying in this field. Okay, so these are the three needs that have been defined by McLean, which is need for achievement, need for power, and need for affiliation. Now we have a goal setting theory. This is a very interesting theory. It talks about how we should set ourselves goals and how we can go about these goals. So it proposes that setting goals that are accepted, specific, and challenging yet achievable will result in higher performance than having no or easy goals. So this theory suggests us like we have three different options, A, okay, B, and C. So if you set yourself a target, which is A, which is quite doable within your limits, B is a bit competitive, and C is the target which is like away from your potential. So this theory suggests that you should set a target that is competitive, it is realistic and challenging, and it is specific. Then you will see a progress happening. If you set yourself a small target, this is not going to increase your performance. If you set yourself high targets, again, they will not be achievable, and then you might face problems. For example, you are doing your bachelor's in engineering, and this is quite doable. So you set yourself a target that the most I will do is I will get the bachelor's of electronics or whatever our field is. But there is another student, he sets himself a target that I will get a bachelor's of electronics, plus I will do certain certifications, plus I will also be getting affiliation with some bodies. And there is another student that sets himself a high target that I will try to get admission in MIT or top 5% of the universities. So what happens if his potential is not, or his background is not supportive, and he cannot get the admission? So it will make him, demotivated at the end of the day. So that's why it's important that the goals are being set that are specific, challenging, yet achievable. Similarly, we can set in an organization, we can set employees the goals that are achievable, not the unrealistic goals. So if you set unrealistic goals, they will not be motivated. So is culture bound to the United States and Canada? So there can be different cultures in which employees can be very competitive or individuals are very competitive. And then there can be some cultures in which individuals are not very competitive. So that can also be different for the different cultures. So benefits of goal setting, why we need to set ourselves goals, it increases the acceptance of the goal. If the goals are already set and shared with the employees, they will accept them. Fosters commitment to difficult public goals. So it will enhance the commitment for achievement. It provides self-feedback, like internal locus of control, the guides behavior and motivates performance, self-efficacy. So this helps us to get a feedback. So if we did not able to achieve our goals, or these are our goals and this is our journey, so it will tell us like where we went wrong, and we can do the study and we can overcome our weaknesses. Okay, so what is reinforcement theory? That's again a very interesting theory. Reinforcement basically assumes that a desired behavior is function of its consequences, is externally caused and reinforced, is likely to be repeated. Like positive reinforcement is preferred for its long-term effects on performance, and it ignores under desired behavior is better than punishment, which may create under desired behavior is better than punishment, which may create additional dysfunctional behavior. So what it talks about is the outcome. Okay, so if a student works hard and he gets a reward at the end of the activity, so he works hard and submits an assignment, and he gets like higher grade. Okay, so what he's going to do is he will repeat the hardship and he will always submit the same assignment with full efforts. Imagine there's another condition in which a student has saw other students, they're submitting the assignment they have copied and they got highest scores. So this will make him to believe like, oh, it doesn't matter if he work too much hard on the assignment, the doctor doesn't bother about this. So that will create a negative, because the outcome was negative, it will on the grade, so he will repeat the negative behavior. So he will not do that thing. So sometimes people don't do something to get punished. Probably this is one of the reasons, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us like paradise, Jannat, or Jahannam, and Jahannam for the punishment. So people don't want to do some activities in which they expect there's a punishment, and they would like to do activity the outcome of which behavior they get is reward. We can also, at work, we can create motivation through job design. So we can make the jobs very interesting, the way the job is committed or combined, or we have a complete job. That also make employees more satisfied and motivated. What are the factors they influence? Like changing organizational environment and structure. So sometimes if you just change the outlook of the organization, people become more satisfied. They feel like the way you go to the office, the way you change the environment. Like if you take the example of pediatric ward or the children's ward at hospitals, you'll see that most of the time these child wards, they put like cartoons and cartoon characters and something like that. So they have changed the environment of the hospital so that the children should not get scared of the doctors. Probably sometimes the doctors are not required to wear the gowns, the white coat, so that the children will not get scared. So and they also provide some candies. I wonder if they do here in Al-Hassa, but they can provide candies, they can have very smiling faces, and the children should not be scared of the injections. Sometimes we can know organizational technology. If you are working in say an organization where they are using obsolete technology, where the systems like they take lots of time to boot and get started, so your customers are standing on your face and you're struggling to boot your system, so that will make you dissatisfied. Imagine you change it with the latest technology, that will also make employees more satisfied and motivated. Employee skills, abilities, and preferences can also affect. If the employees are given more trainings and consultancies and the way they can engage with the customers, the way they can engage like as a teacher doctor with the students, that will also make them motivated. So we have two options. Either we can go for the job enlargement or job enrichment. Job enlargement is increasing the job scope, number and frequency of the tasks. I gave you this example. So imagine I'm teaching 4 courses to engineering college. So what I'm doing is they have given me all these the same course. This is management. Okay, so this makes me very satisfied that I don't have to prepare extra courses. So I'm happy with delivering these 4 lectures to engineering students, and that keeps me motivated and satisfied. Imagine if they change all the 4 courses and they just distribute among 4 different doctors. So it will decrease the motivation level and all the doctors will be under stress. Similarly, there is another way that is called job enrichment. It increases the responsibility and autonomy in a job. So imagine you make somebody a head of department, or you make them as a course coordinator or course head. And that also makes many people satisfied, like, oh gosh, I'm the boss, So uh, you can make a cluster head or something like that. So people get satisfied and motivated just with the tags. There's one thing that is called job characteristic model. It's a conceptual framework for designing motivating jobs that create meaningful work experiences that satisfy employees' growth. So this is basically conceptual model in which we are thinking like we can create job satisfaction just creating meaningful work experiences. There are basically 5 primary job characteristics like skills. How many skills and talented are needed? Task identification. Does the job produces a complete task? So if there are lots of skills that are changing, then people will be very struggling to learn those things. So if we have limited same kind of jobs that are repeated, so people can learn and be motivated. I gave you the example of the McDonald's. They don't have proper chefs, but they can just train young students and they can work as the employees on the McDonald's. Task identity again, does the job produces a complete work? If imagine somebody does lots of effort and he cannot see the work being completed, and the next cadre, like his manager, he takes over the job and completes it. For example, there's this man, he goes outside and talk to the, please give me 1 second. Okay, sorry. So on the task identity, you must have to have a complete task. So imagine there is a salesperson who goes after the customers and he motivates them and brings them in the company, and then he hands over to the manager, and manager closes his files and get the commission. All the effort was done by the salesperson. So technically, this way, the salesperson should be allowed to come and close the file and get the commission. So it will keep him motivated. So I did like this much number of clients for this season. Similarly, task significance, if there are like important tasks, people like to be working on the important tasks. When they complete the task, they feel people like to be working on the important tasks. When they complete the task, they feel honored that they have committed something to the organization. So this is also a part of through which we can make them motivated. Autonomy is how much independence does the job holder have? If people have the autonomy, people feel more powerful and they become more motivated. So it's ideal that we should, in the job, we should provide a reasonable amount of autonomy for the employees to decide their own kind of work. The feedback, do the workers know how they are doing? And we need to give them positive feedback for their improvement, and a timely feedback is very important. So employees doesn't mind if you give them a negative feedback, but you should be giving them realistic and you should give them in a very positive manner. So feedbacks are very important. What are the suggestions for job characteristic model? So we can combine tasks, we can do job enlargement to create more meaningful work, we can create natural work units to make employees work together and whole. We can establish external and internal client relationship, provide feedback. We can expand job varieties like job enrichment by giving employees more autonomy. And we can go for open feedback channels to let employees know how well they are doing. Okay, so equity theory is also very important. It's like it proposes that employees perceive what they get from a job situation outcome in relation to what they put in efforts, and then compares them their inputs outcome ratio with the inputs outcomes ratio of a relative relevant other. So it's slightly different from the reinforcement theory which we discussed in the previous slides. Here, imagine this is an individual himself, and this is you, and this is your friend, colleague. So you see yourself, you see your efforts, how much effort you put, and then you compare yourself with other person and their efforts. And then you become satisfied or dissatisfied by comparing and contrasting yourself, your efforts and the output that you get and the output that your friend has got. Okay, so if the ratio are perceived are equal, then the state is equity. So imagine if you put the same kind of efforts and your friend has put the same kind of effort and both has got like say 9 out of 10. So you'll think like, okay, that's fine. Or again, if you got like 3 out of 10, both of you, so you think like, okay, I did the same efforts, he also got the same effort. So this is fair enough. So your efforts are equivalent to the efforts of your any comparison. So you consider it's fair. But if the ratios are perceived as unequal, inequality exists, then the person may feel under or over rewarded. So imagine your friend was given 3 marks and you are given 9 marks because you feel like, oh, I am over rewarded. And if your friend was given 9 marks and you were given 3 marks, so you will be feeling like I have been deprived from my right. So when inequality occurs, employees will attempt to do something to rebalance the ratio, which is called seek justice. So students will try to change their behavior. Yes, Abdul Hamid, you want to ask a question?
Doctor, there's the equative theory, conflict with the quotation, work hard, work smart, not hard.
Sorry, come again. So you want to say like equity theory is in contradiction to what?
Doctor, some people not put the same effort, but get,
Yeah,
for example, high mark or something. It doesn't
yeah,
conflict with the equity theory. Theory.
yeah. That is also a part of equity theory. For example, you are the one who is working very hard. You spend like 10 hours, and you are just looking at your one of your friend who was playing football throughout the evening, and then he submits an assignment. But he was very clever, and then unfortunately you are comparing yourself with that guy who is more intelligent and he has got a good background, and you will compare like we both are equal. So if you consider yourself equal, then you will not be happy. So you'll say, oh, he is playing all the time, I should also go and play. But if you think like this was not my right reference, so you will not be making yourself reference to that guy. You probably will try to reference a more relevant guy who is like more like you. So you spent like, I said, 3 hours, and he spends like 3 hours, and then you think like he has given like 5 marks out of 10, and you are given like 9 marks out of 10. You'll feel like I am over rewarded. And if you are given like 3 marks and he is given like 9 marks, you'll feel like I have not been given my right, so you'll not be happy. So next time you might not put the effort, so you will say khali wali, I'm not gonna put many efforts, so this is like how we compare ourselves, how an employee sees the outcome. This is the employee's perception. So that's why we have to, like, if a doctor is checking an assignment, so he should make sure, like, give them the feedback, like, why I have given this assignment higher grade, why I have made this assignment lower grade, because this kind of content I was. Okay, so yes, this will make you more disappointed. So, but again, I tell you that the employee need to see how he compares himself. Is he comparing to some intelligent guy? Then he will be disappointed, and he'll not be acknowledging like his efforts. So, for the employee, it's ideal that they should be comparing with the relevant kind of comparison. For the company of if I'm talking about the doctor, if the doctors they give them the feedback and they tell them what is the areas of why a student, it's not about like somebody is spending 3 hours or somebody is spending 10 hours, it's about the quality of the assignment. So if he'll mention that it was about the quality, then this guy will not be dissatisfied, the one who will get 3 out of 10. Okay, that's why critique theory implies responses to perceived inequality, like either they will distort their own ratios, or probably they will not work hard, or probably if they are someone who will work more hard in the next future. Probably they will induce others to change their own input. So if they don't get good marks, they will take to the other student, don't work hard, this teacher is not good, he doesn't give good marks. It may not be the reality, but this is how the employee is thinking. So they change their own inputs. So they might increase the efforts, or they might, or outcomes, or seek greater rewards. They might choose a different comparison, and that's what I'm telling. And they might not compare themselves with the smarter guy. They might compare themselves with the person who is more relevant like them, or they will check with the system and they think, oh, this is how our university system is, that's how the doctors mark the assignment, or they will just compare with themselves. In extreme cases, this is very negative. Sometimes when an employee feels a disparity, they quit the job. They just leave the job and they go to some other company. So this is very unfortunate. That's why equity theory is very crucial for the management to understand. So employees are concerned with both the absolute and relative nature of the organization rewards. So hence the reward system should be very much linked, and it should be very clear to all of us. Okay, so let's see what are the cross-cultural challenges in motivation. So motivation programs are most applicable in cultures where individualism and quality of life are cultural characteristics. So individualism is the kind of a culture in which individual is concerned about himself or his immediate family, whereas collectivism, according to Herzberg, when the people want to live in the societies and groups, in the societies and groups, Herzberg. So uncertainty avoidance of some cultures inverse Maslow's hierarchy of need. It means like we have like Maslow's hierarchy of need works like this. So he thinks like when there's a high uncertainty avoidance among the employees, so they will not be feeling satisfied, so they might not be able to go to the higher levels quickly, so they might be staying on the safety needs or social needs quite longer than expected. The need for achievement is lacking in other cultures, so need for achievement is higher in the US. Americans are very competitive. They work very hard. They put lots of efforts, which is not evident in other cultures. I read somewhere or heard somewhere that an average student in America, they put like 13, 14 hours in a day on studying. Collectivism, collectivist cultures view rewards as entitlement to be distributed based on the individual needs, not on individual performance. So collectivist culture, where people live in the groups, they think like reward is their requirements, so that has to be done, it has to be given them, and it should not be linked with the performance. There's a cross-cultural consistency that they have seen, which is like people in the world, it is universally acceptable that they like interesting work and they like growth, achievement, and responsibility. So these are universally acceptable. So even in Kingdom or in UAE, in America or Great Britain, if you provide interesting work, if you provide growth chances, achievement, and responsibility, people will love it and they will be motivated to work. Or the current issues in motivation, this is motivating unique groups of workers, motivating a diverse workforce through flexibility. And we see like men desire more autonomy, like more control than women, where women like to be instructed, they want to be directed, where men they want to control and direct. Women desire learning opportunities, flexible work, and this is quite understandable. Like women wants to professionally excel, for that they would like to get uh, more learning opportunities. They like work schedules and good interpersonal relationship. Okay, higher than the men. Okay, so how we can use guidelines for motivating employees? We should use goals. We should encourage that goals are perceived as attainable goals, not like unrealistic goals. We should provide rewards on the basis of individuals. We should link reward with the performance. We should check the system of equity, like what employees think, and then we need to correct it. And we can give them the feedback, like Mr. So and so has been awarded this employee of the year because he has achieved these targets. Then you can use recognition, like as I told you, employee of the year or the champion of this year, you know. So the more you will do the recognition, people will be happy, like we have been rewarded. So we should show care and concern to the employees because these small things matter a lot. And at the last, don't ignore the money. As in English, we say money makes the mayor go. Okay, that's it for today's lecture. These are the important terminologies that we have covered so far. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments, you are welcome to please ask. Are we done with today's? Yes, please.
Victor, I have a question about the assignment. When will the deadline?
Okay,